Enter Architects of Adventure, and welcome to RollCraft, your forge for everything TTRPG. Whether you're here to follow thrilling adventures, sharpen your skills as a player or dungeon master, or craft your own worlds from scratch, you found your party. From character creation to campaign design, dice rolls to storytelling, we're here to guide, teach, and inspire. So grab your gear, roll for initiative, and let's build something legendary together. This is RollCraft.
Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining. We're so excited to start with you guys. My name is Maris Jones, and I'm going to be DMing for the first campaign of RollCraft, Emergence of the Divided Empire. Welcome to Session 1. Tales of Ashes and Echoes. The 15-year war has ruined much of the land, and the Empire limps towards peace as it attempts to rebuild from the terrible and horrific acts of its people. Far from the capital's reconstruction efforts, the ruins of Bastion's Hollow lie forgotten. Its purpose spent, its truths buried. Once a fortified checkpoint on the frontier, it now festers with whispers, missing patrols, arcane remnants, and the unsettling rumor of a sealed vault below. Bastion's Hollow is the first introduction to the Thaylorn Empire for our adventurers. The war ended 5 years ago. The capital is rebuilding. Rumors speak of strange activity in the ruins of Bastion's Hollow, a frontier village once used as a military checkpoint and rumored to house a hidden arcane vault. The local magistrate is offering coin for anyone willing to investigate disturbances and missing patrols, though each adventurer has their own agenda for coming to this abandoned town. The wind changes as we crest the last ridge before the distorted valley. It smells like rust and old ash as a haze rests thickly over it like a stale cloud. Below, nestled in a bowl of hills and gnarled trees, lies Bastion's Hollow. A village once fortified, now slumped like a broken limb. Moss coils around the splintered watchtowers. Blackened beams jut from collapsed roofs like ribs from a carcass. The cobbled road winds downward into fog that clings to the ground like an outstretched arm. There is no birdsong here, no hum of insects, just a silence so complete your ears search for sound in the nothing. Pale vines strangle the skeletons of homes, some shimmer faintly with residual magic, trapped in loops of time or trauma. You see broken barricades, rusted armor still scattered, as if soldiers only just fell, and scorch marks melted into stone in patterns too precise for fire. One old banner flaps lazily from a bent post, the faded gold sigil of a long-dead emperor, the edges eaten away by time, and something else. In the center of the village, a toppled statue lies cracked across a dry fountain. Once a monument, now it's just another ruin. The face has been smashed. On the pedestal, someone has scrawled a message in soot and dried blood. No victors, only survivors. The air hums with the arcane, a low, constant hum beneath your skin. Arcane fallout lingers here, thick and invisible. The plants are wrong. You see blossoms with too many petals, trees weeping sap that glows faintly blue. Whatever was done here didn't stay buried. Bastion's Hollow is not empty. It is watching, and it remembers. The cleric is first to arrive. Pausing at the crumbling cemetery beyond the town's edge, the human named Lucan looks at the gravestones, investigating the secrets of the dead. Rain begins to fall before he can cross into the hollow proper. About an hour later, a satyr walks into town, a monk from the eastern monasteries, haunted by his past. He stops before a felled tree that lays across the road, intentionally, as a warning or a trap. A half-elf with a sword on his side joins Ophirin, the satyr, by the felled tree. They exchange weary greetings, both drawn here by prophecy and fate. The half-elf introduces himself as Theron and asks what brings the satyr to the village. An ex-soldier, a tiefling named Ewan, enters from a different path, his eyes drawn to the shattered statue in the town square before anything else. On its base, scrawled in soot and that dry blood, he reads the inscription, "No victors, only survivors." From the fog-choked hills above the town, a young human sorcerer who goes by the name V descends last. Rain begins to soak his cloak, not made for the weathers of the Thalorn Empire, but rather for the harsh sun and sands of a neighboring country of Isilwen. V begins to slip, causing him to slide down the hills towards the town, as the rest of the adventurers, save the cleric, sees him fall. Ophirin and Theron go over to the young human and check on him as the cleric makes his way into the town borders, rain falling on him quickly. Lucan's approach is interrupted by snarls in the tall grass around him. A warped hound, mutated by the arcane fallout, growls at him from beyond one of the buildings. Lucan realizes the beast has two heads, both with savage eyes, and their bites dripping with sickness. The cleric tries to reason with the distorted beast as he pulls out rations from his pack, and V draws the attention of the others as they reach for their steel and weapons in response. It's their first test, and they decide to stand together. Ewan joins them when he sees a warped hound from behind. Before he can get to the satyr to warn him, Ophirin turns and attempts to attack the creature, pushing it back but not quite harming it. Lucan's attempt fails when Theron threatens the beast. The warped hound lunges at him and bites down on his arm. As the rest begin to assist Lucan, Ewan attempts to trap the hound behind them by pulling out a wand and casting a magic spell. A hole appears in the dirt as the beast lunges and falls into it. The other three succeed at killing the first beast, and the second, climbing out of the hole, runs for the hills. Bloodied but bonded, they take shelter in a ruined home. They begin to realize the white chalky droplets from rain outside. And after introductions and healing wounds, they're drawn to a massive, vine-ringed building at the road's end. The library, untouched but surrounded by cleared trees, save for one, a large, sickly oak sipping a glowing blue ichor from its bark. Mushrooms bloom beneath it like mold. Inside the library, the air is damp with mildew and magic. The party splits up and investigates the main room. And as they search, V pulls out a strange, leather-bound tome. The Rat Tome, a grotesque guide to vermin, plague, and of course, rats. It whispers of secrets and rituals, its pages chewed, its words illegible, just ink marks and scratches. V finds that only he can read it, and the rest tease him about being a were-rat. But V can summon a swarm of rats, and he decides to send them to assist Theron in looking for an inscription in stone. As Lucan starts a fire to assist with the darkness, Ewan looks through books and papers to find information on the outpost before its demise. Ophirin, the satyr, discovers a trapdoor beneath fallen shelves in the corner, and as they move, V sends the rats to skitter down into the darkness. They return with minimal but helpful information: sense of death, wood, and an acidic smell from the floorboards. The party follows warily. Below lies a forgotten undercroft, lined with half-built coffins, rusting weapons, and scattered papers soaked in mildew. Here they find the first true horror: decayed corpses, rotting flesh on piles of bone, war notes, and scattered vials. Remnant ooze, arcane in nature, sits questionably in corked vials on one of the workbenches. Ewan finds a sealed war chest under another workbench, and after breaking the lock, they find it holds secrets no soldier would want to read. They stumbled into the ruins of the secret bioweapons lab of Bastion's Hollow. And the lab isn't the only thing that was being hidden under the village. The party begins to piece together the truth. The Empire tested experimental arcane weapons under Bastion's Hollow. Blights that twisted land, soul, and flesh. The pages reference dozens of weapons, living creeps, mirror walkers, mage hounds, even time-looping echo grenades. Here, the war never ended. But the one that stood out the most was called the Verdant Requiem. It was one of the most feared and morally controversial weapons created during the Civil War. It was not designed to kill instantly, but to mutate, torment, and linger, turning the land itself into an extension of the fight. Engineered by a covert cabal of red wizards and sanctioned imperial arcanists, the Requiem was tested in rural and residential zones, like Satyr tribal lands, under the guise of containment fogs and pacification mists. The effect profile states, Stage 1, Exposure. Victims are exposed to haze-green spores suspended in magically charged fog. Inhalation or direct skin contact initiates infection. Symptoms: burning eyes, coughing up silver flecks, vivid hallucinations or prophetic visions, rapid decay of non-magical clothing, gear, and scrolls. Stage 2. Affliction. Hours to days. The spores root in the nervous system and arcane channels. Victims lose sensory control, blindness, deafness, or are subject to magical feedback loops. Creatures with an innate magic, sorcerers, druids, magical beasts, often experience explosive surges of uncontrolled power. Plants in the vicinity grow grotesquely large and hostile, drawing nutrients from infected hosts. Stage 3. Mutation or death. Outcomes vary depending on magical resistance. Low resistance creatures, including commoners and beasts, perish horribly as fungal growth erupts from bodies. High-resistance targets may survive, permanently altered. Eyes turn to opalescent crystals, voices harmonized into unnatural tones, or limb mutations. Some survivors gain strange powers, but at the cost of stability. Magical properties. Verdant Requiem cannot be dispelled by traditional means. Greater Restoration, or a custom spell, must be cast within 24 hours of exposure to stop its progression. Spores are sympathetic to ambient magic. Surges of arcane energy, spellcasting, leyline proximity, etc., empower and spread it further. Terrain in affected zones becomes wild magic zones, where casting spells has unpredictable results. Arcane signature. Detect magic reveals a sickly green aura with threads of necromancy, transmutation, and druidic corruption. Survivors retain trace signatures, useful for tracking or identifying former test subjects. Ethical fallout. The weapon's existence was never publicly acknowledged. Entire regions were quarantined and left to rot, turning once beautiful lands into cursed zones. As they continued to investigate, they find a door. Dwarven in making, the lock is sturdy and sealed with an arcane rune seal. A single small window sits in the center of the door. The party searches for a possible key and finds a paper with the pattern of the arcane keypad in a drawer, and they easily open the door, but only after some deliberation amongst them as to what might be behind it and if it might be safe to open it. But after they decide to open it, they find behind the sealed door the remains of test subjects, lying in piles in a padded room. Bloodied scratch marks surrounded the doorframe they entered. And as V holds the closing door open, Ophirin finds the body of the satyr he had come looking for, sparking a moment of pain and sorrow in his posture. They deduced the satyr had come looking for answers, same as them, and found the vault. Going in and seeing the death, he got trapped by the closing door behind and died from suffocation or sickness. The group decides to close the door behind them, but only after V torches the room of any possible sickness that remains. The biohaze that poisoned this place was born here, and now its secrets must stay here. The party continues through to another room and finds a spiral staircase leading even further down into silence and that acidic scent. But Ewan, taking the pages that they had found about the Verdant Requiem, folds them and puts them in his pack. They find an underground sewage system, but instead of the water that should be here, a green ichor flows through the sewer. Across a small bridge sits a cluster of glowing mushrooms, under a large tree that arches up into the stoned roof. Bricks lay strewn about as if broken and collapsed from force. Something stirs along the stone and rustles behind the mushrooms. From the glowing forest of fungus, undead creatures rise. Fungal growths hanging off their skin seem to be driven by an arcane pulse that drives them forward. The party begins to fight, resisting the undead, but pulses of arcane seem to be keeping them animated. The party finds a red wizard's corpse stuck to the fungal bark like a trunk of the tree. They deduce that the innate arcane flow from the red wizard's body is being mixed with the biohaze and is being used as a battery to protect the tree. Every attack against the creatures heals them until the party turns their blades on the wizard's corpse itself. When the arcane charge ruptures, the fungal horrors begin to fall. But the silence that follows is not peace. Many of the party fell in the fight, and during it, a darkness within V began to come out, fighting like a devil against the oncoming undead. He had pulled out a mask during the fight and was fighting like a whole different person, a sigil arcing with light from his chest. But V fell in the fight, and as they attempted to revive him, Theron, with something behind his eyes, pulled out his sword and decided to stab V in the chest, right in the middle of the sigil, muttering words under his breath. The group, fearful of his actions, attempted to stop Theron, but not before his follow-through. As the party staggers to their fallen comrades, and as each is stabilized, slowly they find that they are not alone. From the rear tunnels, a group emerges. Mercenaries, well-armed, organized, and ready. Too many to fight, especially with two down. They overwhelm the party. Steel shackles snap shut. Blood dampens stone. The adventurers are dragged through the tunnels under the earth towards the surface, no longer wet with rain. Their captors? A strange mix. Tieflings, half-elves, 4 bugbears, trolls, and 1 silent figure in full plate. Who they serve and what they want remains unknown. The Hollow watches them go. The war is over, but its ghost will remain here, stuck in time, just as the party has left it. Thank you guys for listening to the synopsis of Session 1. Session 2 will be up soon. And then Session 3, well, you'll actually get to hear us play. We're really excited to have you at the table with us. Thank you so much again, and we'll see you next time. This is Maris, signing off.
And that wraps up another exciting episode of RollCraft. Keep rolling those dice and crafting your tales long after our mics are off. If you enjoy the journey, don't forget to share it with your fellow adventurers and join us next time for more rolling and crafting.